What's that? Okay, there we go.
Wonderful.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so
Anyways,
this is Readers on a Mission, PLC number 3 about phonological awareness.
yep.
So go ahead.
Perfect. I can
Yeah.
start. So, I think I was really lucky with my observations this week. Like I mentioned, they were working on the same skill pretty much the entire week. And
Mhm.
so the read aloud and the phonological awareness lesson like directly tied into what I was assessing. Um, so yeah, they worked on the vowel O sounds. And seeing that and seeing like the I do, we do, you do being incorporated in all the modeling and the guided practice, I think really helped me figure out how you would like support the student further after the assessment when you see those things that didn't go so well. One of the things that I assessed was, like I mentioned, the naming what the vowel team was and how that wasn't as much of a strong suit as the blending and the segmenting that was done. And so I think seeing how they practice day to day and then seeing, what still is being missed helps you figure out like, okay, maybe we need to do more practice with like seeing the words and identifying them while we're blending and segmenting instead of just orally figuring it out. At least that's what I thought.
I agree. I agree. So I think um, from I'm sorry, assignment 1 and 2, how I would help a student that in my student that I assessed was having problems with blending as well. Um, I think it's because he didn't want to slow down. He wanted to get it done fast. He wanted to be the one with the right answer.
Yeah.
Um, so it just goes back to routines that the teacher instills in the classroom of just reminding the student, hey, okay, let's just take our time. It's okay to take our time. What are those sounds that you hear? Okay, let's put those sounds together in a word. Um, that's, for instance, like I said, my little guy, he the word was great, so a. And he immediately is like Gatorade. And so I wanted so badly to say, no, we just need to slow down and think about what you're hearing. And, you
Mhm.
know, um, but I couldn't say that. So that was, I wanted to so bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay, just slow down. But I couldn't. So, um, but also with the other thing that I recognize between the phonological awareness and the read aloud was just expression. When you're
Hmm.
teaching, just use that expression and overemphasize those parts that you're working on to get the kids involved, which is also another thing is just the involvement of having the kids engaged in
Hmm.
both of those lessons as adds to so much depth in their learning and their retention. Um, so they might not, remember the character's name in the book, but they're going to remember that um, they put different pigments and different hues in to make different colors,
Yeah.
um, which, yeah, is also incorporating literacy in the different subjects, which is, I think the teacher I was observing did a wonderful job leading from the literacy unit into the science unit and how we can incorporate that into every different subject we uh, that we go into that day. So,
Yeah. And I agree with what you say about the expression. I think you don't realize it beforehand, but expression during read alouds is like it's genuinely modeling, because the way you expressively read, exclamation points, question marks, like the way you sound out words and the way you emphasize things, you're like inadvertently modeling all these skills for these students. And so that's why I think it's so important to be
mhm.
expressive and to model because it teaches them those skills before they even like get into them on their own.
Yeah, you're virtually creating the experience for them,
Yeah,
and you want it to be a memorable experience. So
yeah.
that's definitely expression is a huge part of that.
Um, I
So
also think we both mentioned a lot the importance of modeling. That was a pattern and a theme that we both really saw.
mhm,
Um, I mean, every day before they did anything, you were seeing it modeled, and you saw that like gradual release of responsibility with the kids. I would do it,
mhm,
and then we would all do it together, and then they would do it on their own finally. I think it's important, like we talked about last time, it helps build that confidence, but it helps the kids do those things like slow down and to like really understand what they're doing when they see it every day modeled for them. I think that's really important.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, yeah, routines is another one that we have pointed out about common themes across all of our practicum settings was those routines that the kids have. Um, for the literacy one, it was, sitting on the carpet, starting out sitting on the carpet with the teacher as the teacher um, reviews the lesson. And for for me, the humanities one was the kids would come in and there's a sign on a table of what they needed to get, and so or pick up right there on the table, and they would do that, and then they go back to their desk and start working on it. And every classroom has a routine,
Hmm.
um, and I think the kids definitely are more successful when they follow that routine, and the
Yeah.
classroom's more successful. It seems more organized with those routines in place.
I agree. And I think it's hard to understand like the value of those routines until you see like what
Yeah,
happens when you don't have a routine. Like
yeah,
if there's a substitute that comes in and doesn't really know the routine of the classroom, the kids are all out of whack because it's not what they're used to. And I think that's a really important part, like an initial part of building, like having those routines because it builds that environment where like they feel successful and they know what's going to happen and they can like learn the way that they feel like they should be learning. I think it's really
right.
cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's so hard to be a sub. It's because you don't know
Of course,
what all the routines are.
right?
They've got a tough job.
The older
As I
ones
think we both,
will definitely call you out. I subbed on Friday and we're like,
yes.
that's not how we do this. It's like, okay. Well, thanks for telling
That's
me.
true. That is true. They do.
Yeah.
And finally, what strategies did your PLC identify as best practices for supporting early literacy? Routines.
Yep. Routines is a
Going
big
back
one.
to routines. Also, immediate feedback. I
Hmm.
think immediate feedback is crucial, especially when these little ones are just learning how to read,
Hmm.
and just
Yeah.
stopping those um, incorrect or bad habits right away. Getting them into a good habit is super important, or correcting those misconceptions right away is you have to. You have to.
Yeah. And I think that's something that you definitely saw in yours. I was able to see it a little bit in the small groups that I was in, how the immediate feedback and that working with the student right away can help them feel more confident and like getting those misconceptions just out of the door and out of their mind before they move on. I also
Mhm.
think we both mentioned hands-on things like those kinesthetic
Oh, yes.
activities. You see it a lot in math and science, but with literacy, it's just as important. Once kids can like physically see it or visualize or do some sort of activity, it helps
Yes.
them to retain it and it helps them be way more engaged in their learning, as opposed to just, sitting and listening to me tell you how to do something all day long. So,
Absolutely. Nobody wants to listen to that all day long, but
yeah.
but yeah, I think doing the hands-on and actually doing it helps um, really form that foundation for the kids.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Cool.
All right. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's all I have.
All right. Okay.